Hello, everybody. Welcome back to an episode of My Thoughts. It's been a while, and I probably mentioned this before with My Thoughts, but I'm probably only going to do My Thoughts when I find something really interesting to talk about, or there's really stuff that's trending, and there's stuff trending every day, of course. But if there's really only stuff that I really would like to talk about, or a trending topic that I want to talk about and give my input on. So there could be a lot of things that I want to talk about, or there could be not really much things, and we could wait a while. So My Thoughts is kind of but it all depends on the topics I'd like to talk about. So, it's a good series. I do want to keep it rolling. It's just sometimes we go on break, if you will, with it, because sometimes we'll have episodes, or we'll have episodes rolling, and I'll have a lot of stuff I want to talk about. It's 50-50, so, but, you'll definitely be getting my thoughts. I definitely do want to keep the series going, and I do have plans for it. But, it's not always going to be rolling, it's not always going to be rolling around. It's going to be, very 50-50 with how it comes out. The schedule of it is what I'm trying to say. Anyways, yeah, so today I do have a topic I want to talk about. The Walking Dead. Now, I don't know if you guys know about The Walking Dead. It was a pretty popular show. It still is. It's a pretty popular show. So I imagine a majority of people know about it, or, if you haven't watched it, it's a pretty good show. Now, they just ended the show back at towards the end of November. They just ended the show, and I'm a long time fan of The Walking Dead. Um, Now, I'm not going to be giving any spoilers for those of you who want to watch the show or haven't got around to seeing the ending yet. I'm not going to spoil anything, so this is a spoiler-free thing. I'm just going to be telling you guys what I think about the finale and what I think about the entire show in general. Now, it's going to be a critique, so I'm going to be critiquing it a lot, but it is one of my favorite shows, but it kind of fell off, Now, the ending, it was great. I think it was a good ending. It had a pretty big twist. Like I said, I'm not going to talk about because there's no spoilers in this video, but it had a pretty big twist. And for me, I really stopped watching it after maybe season 7, season 8 maybe, because it just got too confusing and it just wasn't as good. Now, my thing is, I've always said, to other friends who've watched it too, I've always said they should have ended it at the season 8 ending. I think they should have ended it in my personal opinion, or they could have ended it in season 8. They could have made it into a way they could have ended it in season 8, but they didn't, unfortunately. Now, of course, this isn't technically the end of The Walking Dead. I think it's pretty much just them ending off the main series that's been going on for 11 seasons, a long time now, pretty much a little bit more than a decade now. Um, that's just them ending the main series. Now there's Fear the Walking Dead. There's a bunch of, I think it's called like Dead City. I think The Walking Dead Dead City or something like that. I don't know. I think there's a few spin-offs coming off, but I think that's the end of the main series. And I don't really even pay attention to the spin-offs either. I've only really ever watched Fear the Walking Dead, which that's pretty good. But there's a bunch of spin-offs, so The Walking Dead is not technically ended, but only like the main story with main characters and everything. So, yeah. Now, as I was saying, my main problem with the show as a whole, they kept it going for too long. You know, it didn't need to go for as long as it did. It got very confusing at the end. It real confusing at the end. Like, the beginning of the show was great. Like, season 1. The beginning of the show was great. Everything up to season 8, in my opinion, was perfect. Very perfect. Great pace. Great everything. That's what I really enjoyed about it. But the thing is it's, I think what plays into it is money. And I'm not saying that all they wanted to do was make money. Of course, that's probably a big factor. But I'm not saying all they wanted to do was make money. But the show was doing successful, and they probably just, I don't want to say it. They just probably wanted to make more money. Because when you end a series off at the right time, you have a hit series, and people remember it as, hey, that show, The Walking Dead, it had a great ending. I'm glad they didn't drag it on. Like Gravity Falls. I don't know if you guys know about Gravity Falls, but the Gravity Falls show, it was a Disney show. It was a great show, and it only lasted 2 seasons, but I think they ended it off at a good pace. They didn't make it last too long. They could have, but they didn't, and they ended that show off at a good pace. Now, who knows if we're gonna get a season 3? I doubt it, but I talk about Gravity Falls, but I doubt it. But I think that show is pretty much ended off. But yeah, that was a great show. They ended off at the right time. But The Walking Dead, they kept it going, and it's very unnecessary. It was very unnecessary for them to keep it going, and it just got very confusing. And personally, I was confused, and I kind of stopped watching it after a while, like after a few seasons, and I just kind of got caught up over the past few months. I've been getting caught up with it, so the final episode, of course, makes sense to me, and I did. That just because I'm caught up, it doesn't mean I really liked it. I didn't really like it. It wasn't anything for me. I didn't really like it at all. The final ending, the final episode, it was okay. It was just, I feel like it was to be expected, without saying anything. You know, everybody was anticipating it to happen, what happened at the end of that episode, once again, not saying anything. But it's just, it was predictable, actually. Come to think of it, yeah, it was predictable. The ending was predictable, and it wasn't, it was hyped up, and it was predictable. And you don't want a predictable ending. In certain cases, you don't want people to already know your ending, and then the ending actually happens. The ending, that they thought was going to happen happened. Because you don't want anything to be predictable. You want your show to be unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen next. You want to be on the edge of your seat. It's just kind of a shame what happened to it. And I only had a few characters that I really liked towards the end. And those are characters from season 1 that have stayed there with the whole show. Which one of them is Daryl, the other one is Carol, and Rick. And Rick, Rick kind of even in my opinion, Rick's character just fell off too. As well as that, he just kind of fell off. But Daryl stuck around. His character was there to the very end, and I appreciate that. I could appreciate that. He was the only character I really liked in the end. I stuck with him since season 1. Since he's been there since the show really started. So of course I'm gonna stick with him. But Walking Dead, it's just my final opinion on it is just they drug it on. It was dragged on, didn't need to be that way, and unfortunately, and I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one that thinks that too. I know that other people think it. I know that sure, everybody has different opinions, but for the most part, I think the Walking Dead fan base, we could all agree to a certain degree that it was drug on, at least, So, if you guys watched The Walking Dead, the finale, and if you guys like the show and everything, it's let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you haven't watched it, I recommend you watch it. Like I said, it really doesn't really kind of falls off after season 8, but everything up to season 8, in my opinion, is great. It's on Netflix. Season 1 to 10 is on Netflix. I don't know if they put 11 on there yet, because I think that was the final season. But season 1 to 10 is up there on Netflix. So if you guys have Netflix, I recommend you seriously watch The Walking Dead. It's a great show. Just the ending wasn't as good, in my opinion. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. Just figured I'd come on here and talk about one of my favorite shows of all time, honestly. It's an unfortunate ending, which wasn't really a fan of, but I digress. But anyways, so yeah, make sure to subscribe for more content, like the video, all the good stuff. Discord, Twitch, Instagram, links in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next video.